mobility versus stability. Now, the old school backpackers mindset, would go for really rigid boots, really waterproof, but they definitely take a lot of breaking in. And I've gotten accustomed to minimalist footwear over the years. And I know it's not something you just jump 0 to 60. You need to condition yourself. But it's good to practice the agility in those ankles so that they can absorb this terrain. I find that the more rigid you are, the more you hurt at the end of the day. I've kind of become what do I want to say? I enjoy the sensations that come with these challenges, and it's about, how do I want to say it? Let me get my words together. Conditioning the body, so that it can endure. But it's really a process of deconditioning the mind, because it really only hurts if you tell yourself it hurts. And if you put a wall up, then of course it's going to get harder and harder and harder. And if you are very agile in the ankles and the toes, are able to lower the hips and have a good sturdy foundation, I think it really goes a long ways. So minimalist footwear conditioning, and then at camp at the end of the days, a lot of people like to have camp shoes. Shoes you put on your clean socks and your slippers or your flip-flops or whatever, something lightweight, doesn't take up space in the pack. But I just like to be barefoot. Sure, it's a little rough and I hobble around a little bit, but I bounce back the very next morning and I don't have soreness. I might have a few sensitive spots, but that's where self-massage and self-care comes in. And I'm grateful that these have been habits ingrained in me since I was a wee lad. But I think that's enough of a rant for now. Ego's peeing. Now, the new age of backpackers seem to be all about ultralight or I forget what some of the terms are. It's never really appealed to me. As long as it fits in the pack, I'm pretty okay with it. But wearing like trail runners or just like hiking shoes that aren't even waterproof per se, but that they have a capacity to dry out really fast, and then I would imagine, carry a few extra more pairs of socks. But for me, I just got my waterproof minimalist Vivo Barefoot trackers and the pair of socks that I hike in, and I have a pair of socks for camp, but like I said previously, I usually just prefer being barefoot. It's good to let those feetsies breathe. But yeah, everybody does it a little different, and it takes experience to dial it in for yourself. I think it was about 10 years ago now, fresh out of my yoga teacher training program, that I set out to do a 160-mile section up here from Judge C.R. Magny heading south. And I had friends camped at my halfway point. I'm having a hard time recollecting which trailhead that was, but it was about 80 miles. And it rained pretty light, but it rained every day. And I had all the gear, but I did not have the gear dialed in. I didn't test my tent. I didn't test my air mattress. That very first night, a friend dropped me off. There was a hole in my air mattress, nothing to patch it. I didn't pack my sleeping bag because it was June and I thought the temperatures would be cozy overnight like the daytime. Boy, was I wrong there. Thankfully, I had an emergency blanket, and I'd like to say it definitely kept me alive. But it was like waking up in your own condensation from breathing. It was so icky. But again, I'm glad I had that in my first aid kit. And what else? The main buckle on my pack broke. The tent was leaking a little tiny bit. I chose to wear steel toe waterproof boots because they were the only waterproof boots I had at the time. And they did not keep my feet dry, not even for day one. And I made it to my friends and I was like, yep, I'm done. No need to do that second half. I have been defeated by this rugged landscape. Oh, I gotta catch this. The fern forest. But yeah, I learned a lot from that experience, and the main thing was to basically never go out backpacking without setting up your gear before you go. I mean, even if you just used it, maybe in that scenario, but if you haven't used it since last season, you definitely want to check on it. And at least bring a patch kit for your air mattress. But you live and you learn. And now I'm feeling more and more like I know what I'm doing. I wouldn't consider myself a professional by any means. I could definitely work on getting better about hanging my bear bag. But hey, always a work in progress. When your instincts are to tighten, my suggestion is to soften and lean in. You know, when we develop little aches or pains in the body when we're out hiking or doing anything arduous, you know, for one, just check yourself, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. But then to take into consideration that when we become hyperfixated on something, let's say the calf starts cramping or something like that, all of a sudden you're thinking so much about your calf tightening up, almost like you're feeding into it, and it just gets perpetually worse. But if you bring awareness to that area in the body and tell your mind, or use your mind to tell your body to soften around that general area, be more flexible in the ankles, try to be more smooth and fluid in the hips, try to lean back and soften those shoulders. You know, just do the full body observation and see if you are going through some repetitive stress of holding tension that you do not need to be. You know, with this heavy pack on our backs, I say we, like he's got it easy. I'm choosing to carry everything for him. I just want him to have the best time he can. But, I lost my train of thought. That's enough for now. I wanted to make a correction to an earlier something I said, that when the intuition tells you to tighten, and I suggested soften, I don't mean the intuition. I think the intuition is what we dig deeper to find. But what I meant is the ego. When the ego is telling you to tighten, listen to the intuition deep, deep down to soften. I don't know if that makes any sense, but all I know is I'm in my happy place. Slow is steady. Steady is fast. I don't remember who said that, but I do remember reading it in the book Born to Run by Christopher McDougall. I haven't been trail running much in years, occasionally getting out just for my fitness. But something about putting your home on your back and finding a steadiness in that. You go. You getting yourself carrying, bud? Yeah, I might have mentioned it already, but he's not getting his usual naps. So it's nice that we just get our miles in early, stop early afternoon, and then we take a little nap. Well, he naps while I kind of cool off and get everything ready for dinner and stretch out a little bit. And then we'll go out for like our neighborhood bedtime walk, I call it. But now he's all, yeah, you could go any minute. But he's also ready to just pass out for 10 hours. It's a good problem to have.